Okay, so if you're seeing this, consider yourself really lucky. We're testing out some new software. And if you're seeing me for the very first time, my name is Chad Yeslova. So I'm just going to wait a little bit because I need to click on go live on Instagram as well. This is a pretty cool new software. Well, it's new for me anyway. But guys, if you're tuning in, a little bit about myself. My name is Chad Yeslova, and I am a real estate investor, and I have gone all in on the co-living strategy. Now, if you're wondering what the co-living strategy is, it's something that I'm going to be going into detail on in this video. And if you're wondering exactly what the Rent Money Club is, I will be explaining that as well a little bit further along in this video. Now, firstly, myself, straight from university, I did study finance and marketing at a really well-known university in Sydney, Australia. So straight from university, I got into stockbroking. Now, it wasn't a smooth sailing straight into stockbroking. However, it's actually an interesting story. I studied painting to get into stockbroking. Now, from stockbroking, I developed my skills and my ability to be able to manage shareholders, attract investors, and it's something that I really, really enjoyed. I worked with multi-million-dollar companies, and being able to speak to high net worth individuals and funds as well was something that really did attract me. Now, it was during the global financial crisis, which I wasn't really prepared for. It was the first downturn that I experienced, which basically threw me off the track. So as Mike Tyson says, everyone's got a plan until you get punched in the face. And that was that moment for me. And it was a pivotal moment because I had to make a decision as to whether I continue going down that stockbroking path or focus on a single asset that I am going to grow. And as I had spent time speaking to corporate advisors, I thought, okay, if I grow this asset, rather than listing someone else's company, I could be listing my own. So I did focus on that single asset. And over the last 15 years, I learned so much about entrepreneurship. There have been a few different ventures. But one of the common themes that happened over these last 15 years was that I really didn't know what was around the corner. So in 2009, that was a global financial crisis. And then in 2021, it was what we all experienced around the world. It was COVID. Right. And so straight after that happened, and it was something that we hadn't actually planned for, because during that time we were discussing our expansion into United States from Australia. And because I don't watch the news at all, and I didn't want to expose myself to any negativity, that didn't actually work in my favor because I was not prepared for what happened next. A friend of mine called me and said, there is a shutdown right now, and it's huge. And I said, well, I'm sure in 2 weeks' time, this will all be over. Fast forward about a year and a half from there, and we were still in lockdowns. If you don't know, Australia was actually really, really strict during that time. And so after about a year and a half of enduring torture, I thought, okay, this is it. I'm just going to apply to get the hell out of here. And this is when we applied to go to the United States. And everything that we had worked hard for during that time had disintegrated to basically nothing. And so we had to rebuild in the United States. Now, another thing that I wasn't actually prepared for, I did the research, spoke to my attorney, and they assured me that it was going to be a 2-week turnaround, but we had to spend $100,000 on the US economy. So we couldn't actually spend that fast enough. And when it came time to the application, we submitted everything. And we had an office, we had all these supplies and all these other things that we had spent money on. And as 2 weeks goes by, I call my attorney, hey, so where is our approval? Oh, well, I worked with someone else and they'd only just received it, so it shouldn't be too far away. And then another 2 weeks goes by, we still don't receive it. Now, long story short, fast forward about a year and a half, we finally received it. But as you can imagine, that year and a half that we weren't anticipating really took a toll on us. And so we had to make so many changes. Again, it was not something that we were actually prepared for, but being resilient entrepreneurs that can pivot on a whim, we did what we had to do to survive during that period as well. But again, it basically set us back. And then the next thing after that were the interest rates. As the interest rates shot up with the industry that we were in, there were some changes. More specifically, people were not getting paid. And as you all know, without payment, no one can actually survive, right? So one person in particular, who I guess I have some sort of appreciation for him, but this guy is an absolute crook, and I'm sure at some stage in life he will actually be in jail. But we were waiting on about 6 figures of commissions from this guy. And so when we didn't actually receive that, that was basically the straw that broke the camel's back for me. I thought, you know what? With all the different things that I had experienced in life, an indestructible income stream would have changed the outcome for each one of these different situations. And like, this is where I need to take responsibility and say to myself, because I didn't actually have that indestructible income stream. And now when I refer to an indestructible income stream, I always believed that real estate is something that everybody knows, understands. They know the valuation of it. It doesn't matter who you are or what your sophistication level is or what your IQ level may actually be. If you are in a home, you know what the value is. You know what your neighbor's home is worth as well. So because of that, and we all obviously know that, the prices have been increasing over time, depending on where you are. But if it's in an appreciating market, you can bet that it has actually been increasing. I knew that if I actually owned these cash flowing assets, that would be an indestructible income stream that would have changed the outcome for me. Unfortunately, for the 2009 global financial crisis, for COVID, for my situation with the visa and the rising interest rates, there was no indestructible income stream. Now, as any business owner should, they should prepare for unforeseen circumstances like the ones that we had just experienced. But I was one of the unlucky ones that wasn't actually prepared, but I did pivot very quickly, right? Now, an indestructible income stream would have made a significant difference, because while everyone else is retreating in the industry, I could have pushed forward. I could have put extra resources towards marketing, acquiring the best salespeople, because these economic downturns are temporary. They're not permanent, right? But I could have been investing for a permanent solution. Instead, I actually had to retreat. And then I took responsibility. I decided to go all in on real estate. Now, it was one of the best decisions that I had made, because everything that I had done up until that point had prepared me. So I went on to acquire 21 properties within 18 months. 21 properties within 18 months. Now, if you're wondering, wow, that's actually aggressive, and what are all the different things that you actually did, and is that careful or careless? Well, up until that point, because I had owned a sales organization and, I was a business owner as well, I had equipped myself with that ability to be able to negotiate and close and ask for the sale. All of these things are incredibly important in being able to source, negotiate, and close on the right deals. And obviously you need the time as well. And because I had gone all in, I decided to do exactly what was necessary to be able to negotiate and close on these. And I was hungry. I really wanted that indestructible income stream. And during that time that I was negotiating, it really opened my eyes to what is actually possible. So I'm going to give you one example specifically, and that is my phone conversation with a gentleman named Joe. He's since passed away, which I was sad to hear, because he was one of the first major negotiations. But at the same time, this guy, he was a really, really angry gentleman, always hung up on me. And it took multiple follow-ups to actually get his attention and get him to trust me as well. He was grouchy, and he basically took that attitude to the grave with him. Now, in that phone call, it was a tired landlord. He had over 70 properties. It was between, it could have been anywhere between 70 to 80 properties that were cash flowing about $40,000. And majority of it he owned free and clear. So in that conversation and over multiple follow-ups, I convinced him to sell me about 20 or so of his properties, seller finance to me, without me having to put a single dollar down. Now, interestingly enough, on the close date, I actually got paid. I didn't have to pay, because each one of these properties, as they were rented out, they came with security deposits as well, which were all transferred to me. And so suddenly I was in possession of multiple properties that cash flowed, and I didn't have to put a single dollar down. And I couldn't have been any more surprised, because I realized in that moment the power of all of the skills that I had developed up until that point, namely negotiating and sales, right? Now, in that moment, I realized if I do focus my energy on, speaking to the right people, then I could have that opportunity to negotiate a great deal. And so I did that. I mean, there were multiple negotiations during that first 12 months as well. Another one is a property in Texas where I put $0 down, and the interest rate on that property is 0% as well, right? So that's another interesting one. And on the close date, I mean, we paid for the closing costs, but the closing costs and everything combined were actually minimal compared to the value that we were getting. Now, I tried multiple exit strategies as well. Everyone was going on about, short-term rentals, Airbnb. And then I came across this opportunity called co-living, right? Now, if you're wondering what co-living is, I'm going to show you a little slide here so you can see exactly what this looks like. Okay. So this is the most recent project that we worked on. It's a 3-bedroom home, right? So as you can see, you've got bedroom number 1, bedroom number 2, bedroom number 3, you've got your lounge room here, you've got your kitchen, you've got your dining room, and you've got a 2-car garage here. Now, what did we do with this property? Now, before I show you exactly what we did with this property, the reason why this piqued my interest, as you can tell from the accent, what I mentioned earlier about growing up in Australia, is that the real estate prices in Australia are astronomically high. They're comparable to what we have in California, right? So just when you think the prices are too high and that they couldn't go up any higher, well, since I guess 2009, 15 years, the prices have probably tripled, maybe even quadrupled. I don't know, but it's gone up a significant amount. And I've got friends who have been calling the top for a very, very long time, but the prices just continue to go up. And that's something that we'll see in the United States as well. Now, as they continue to go up, and the rental yield, by the way, on these properties are actually really low, people still believe that these are great investments. Now, they don't cash flow. In my opinion, it's not the best. I mean, it's not a great investment because it's hope and pray, that these prices will continue to appreciate. But because the prices are so high in Australia, there was a period, and it was a long period as well, actually, where I lived with my friends. Now, my friends are all really high income earners, lawyers, management consultants, some are running their own businesses as well, but these guys are incredibly intelligent. They're doing incredibly well for themselves, but it made sense to share a home. Now, it made sense because the rents are really expensive. Purchasing a home is incredibly expensive. Now, where we lived, an average, say, 2-bedroom home in that area is about $2 million. So to purchase that property, you would need to come up with a 20% down payment. That's $400,000. Now, despite being lawyers and management consultants and so forth, it's going to take a while to save that amount of money unless you've got help from friends and family, right? So it made sense to live together, and we had a great time. We held, like so many different events, and like, we've got so many memories as well. But basically, a light bulb went off in my head when I saw this opportunity in the United States as well. I thought, wow, like it's at the infancy here, whereas in Australia, it makes a lot of sense. It's been around for a while. People are doing it. People expect it. They know that if they do want to live in a certain area, that they need to make sacrifices. And that sacrifice is foregoing some of your privacy by living with a stranger. And obviously, you become friends with, some of these people. And that's what happened in my case with some of the other people that I lived with as well. But it was quite a new concept here. And when I say here, I mean, I'm now based in Miami, and I'm, investing very actively in Florida and Texas. But as this light bulb went off and it's in its infancy, I saw how we can solve the housing crisis. The divide between those who can afford it and those who can't is continuing to, widen. And rents are, becoming more and more expensive as well. So, we're seeing on the news how there is a demand for affordable housing. But what is the solution? Well, I felt that co-living was one of the lowest barrier solutions. Now, building ADUs is obviously another solution as well, tiny homes. But this one is, going from a 3-bedroom home to this. So we've been able to convert this into 7 rooms. So the garage is 2 rooms, the dining room. So we've optimized that space in the house for additional bedrooms as well. So you've got the dining room that is now a bedroom as well. This lounge room, well, it doesn't go all the way across because we want to make sure that everyone in the house had access to the backyard as well. So we actually closed it off here, but it's still a significant sized room, which is great. And it's the room that I was actually staying in while I was there overseeing the construction and assisting with, assembling all the furniture as well. So this actually has a lot of space. It's actually one of my favorite rooms in the entire house, right? And so, we've priced that one at $800 and this one at $800 as well, because, the comparable size. Now we added this wall here to create a hall. So all of these rooms have access to this bathroom as well. And this primary bedroom has now been turned into just a normal bedroom with its own closet as well. So that's 800, 800, 800 here as well. So we've got 7 rooms on average. The rooms are being we're charging $800 for it. Now, is that a lot of money? Well, the people who are actually renting this, there are different tenant types, but I'm going to give you an example of one of them. It's an 18-year-old who is just moving out of home. He's got a long track record, well, as long as it can actually be for an 18-year-old, for working in a restaurant. He's earning his base pay plus his tips as well, so he can easily afford it. And, we've done the full reference check as well, and his employer has to say good things about him. But as he's moving out of home, he's worried about, his work and other things as you do as an 18-year-old, but he wanted that convenience of a flat fee that basically covered the landscaping, the cleaning, the furnishing, all the utilities in the home as well. So he didn't have to worry about any of those things. So for one single flat fee, we provide him with a code that allows him to enter the front room of the house, and then another code for privacy into his bedroom as well. So there you have it, folks. Like, that's basically co-living right there, right? And that is one of the major selling points as well, that single flat fee that the person pays. And that is one of the tenant types as well. Now, for being able to provide this service, which he was so grateful for, we are actually cash flowing about $2,400 a month on this property. Now, you may feel like making a profit is a sin. However, people need to be incentivized to do something like this. It is work. When you've got 7 people in a home, you are actually babysitting some of these people. So we built our own management team because we've got investors. I can't afford to call a property manager who is not going to pick up their phone, who's going to take a long time to respond to maintenance requests we needed some people like from our own team that we can control. So we can make sure that there are KPIs around maintenance requests. We can make sure that, if there is an issue, that we can solve it straight away. If we are expecting payment, the payments are made straight away. If payments do actually need to be made, that they are made in a timely manner as well. Basically anything and everything to make sure that me as the owner, that I'm incredibly happy. And if I'm happy, I know that anyone who's partnered with me as an investor is going to be incredibly happy as well. So this is what we did with this property, right? Now, if you want to see exactly what this looks like, let's take a look. We're entering the front of the house right now. There you have it. I know it's pretty fast, but you've had the laundry. This is room 1. You've got room 2 here. The laundry again. Room 3. So all the furniture is identical. You've got the kitchen, which is nice and spacious. We've put a second fridge in there as well. And then the room 4. So as you can see, that communal area is designed to just be a short-term area, like not where people actually congregate, right? So you've got the second bathroom there. Sorry, the first bathroom. And then you've got the second bathroom here. So it's 2 full bathrooms. And then you've got room 6. And then you've got room 7. And that's the communal area. I really love that fireplace area because it adds a lot of character. And now let's take a look at the backyard as well. I know that when we have an outdoor setting there, that's going to be an amazing spot for the morning coffee, right? So there you have it, guys. That's exactly what it looks like. Now, people need to be incentivized to be able to create these co-living homes, right? And that incentive in this case is $2,400 a month cash flow. And we're providing that convenience. Yes, like it does make it much easier. And yes, there could be some issues. Nothing is ever actually easy, but I believe that if we are going to make a dent in affordable housing, that co-living is actually going to play a pivotal role in that. And so if you do want to be able to, develop your own wealth through co-living, or perhaps you may want to partner with someone like me, or you may have some funds, but not quite ready yet because you need to accumulate some more funds to be able to invest in these co-living homes. Well, we've got a group organized for you where you can get much more information. We can develop that relationship with one another as well. So as you do become ready and then you to have a chat with me and then you want to have a tailored game plan, let's discuss that. But this free Facebook group, look it up. The name of it is Real Estate Investing Community, Build Wealth with Co-Living Houses. Okay. So that should be in the description of this, but if it's not, DM me and I can send you the link for it. Now, we call it the Rent Money Club because if you want that rent money life, where in those situations in my life could have been a lot different. Instead, I actually had to go through, like if I had to, draw a graph of exactly the emotions that I'd gone through and my, my heart rate as well, it would have been all over, right? But had I actually been receiving this rent money, this indestructible income stream, then things could have been differently. I could have been on the offense. Growth could have been different. But now that's a thing of the past, and the future is the Rent Money Club, right? So if you do want to build that indestructible income stream for yourself as well, and you know that you could be doing with some extra money, rent money, right? Join the club. The group is there. It's in the description. If you have any questions, DM me. And if this has annoyed you, well, I hope you actually got enough value out of it so you're not actually that annoyed, right? I know that everyone could be doing with some extra income right now. Interest rates were through the roof. It's a great thing that they're actually starting to go down right now. But if you still do want to be a Karen, yeah, congratulations. I know that this is one extra thing that you will be offended about. Hope you all have an awesome day. Take care. Ciao.